Oh, hey there. So, who are your heroes? Who are the people that you look up to, and who are the people that you strive to be like? What attributes do you look at in people and think, I want to be like that? Here are some of the ones that I look up to. Okay, so this is Hebrews chapter 11. I just want to read this to you. It's not that long. It says, "Faith in action. Now, faith is confidence in what we hope for, and assurance about what we do not see. This is what the ancients were commended for." Okay, so let's talk about faith. And it says it is confidence in what we hope for. It's not like I hope that I win the lottery. It's like I feel confident that if I follow God's word, that this is what will happen. That is a faith. That is a strong faith. And it's an assurance about what we do not see. Even though we don't see it with our eyes, we don't hear it with our ears, we know it in our heart, and we're like, this is what is true, and this is what I will follow. Okay, so moving on. By faith, we understand that the universe was formed at God's command, so that what is seen was not made out of what was visible. By faith, Abel brought God a better offering than Cain did. By faith, he was commended as righteous when God spoke well of his offerings, and by faith, Abel still speaks even though he is dead. By faith, Enoch was taken from this life so that he did not experience death. He could not be found because God had taken him away. For before he was taken, he was commended as one who pleased God. And without faith, it is impossible to please God, because anyone who comes to him must believe that he exists and that he rewards those who earnestly seek him. That's important. It is impossible to please God because anyone who comes to him must believe that he exists. That's important. And that he rewards those who earnestly seek him. So why not seek him with your whole heart? If anybody can afford to pay back their debts, it's God. By faith, Noah, when warned about things not yet seen, in holy fear built an ark to save his family. By his faith, he commended the world and became heir of the righteousness that is in keeping with faith. So even though he didn't see it, there was no prediction. He didn't check his iPhone app for the Weather Channel. He still was like, God told me to build this ark, and I'm going to build this ark. And it was credited to him as faith. By faith, Abraham, when called to go to a place he would later receive as his inheritance, obeyed and went, even though he did not know where he was going. By faith, he made his home in the promised land like a stranger in a foreign country. He lived in tents, as did Isaac and Jacob, who were heirs with him on the same promise. For he was looking forward to the city with foundations, whose architect and builder is God. And by faith, even Sarah, who was past childbearing age, was enabled to bear children, because she considered him faithful who had made the promise. And so from this one man, and he is as good as dead, came descendants as numerous as the stars in the sky and as countless as the sand on the seashore. All these people were still living by faith when they died. They did not receive the things promised. They only saw them and welcomed them from a distance, admitting that they were foreigners and strangers on earth. People who say such things show that they are looking for a country of their own. If they had been thinking of the country they had left, they would have had an opportunity to return. Instead, they were longing for a better country, a heavenly one. Therefore, God is not ashamed to be called their God, for he has prepared a city for them. Imagine God being ashamed to be called your God. Imagine doing things and God's like, yeah, this guy. I don't want to be that person to God. I know that there are several people that I think of in that way, and I'm just like, them. And I don't want to be that person to God. I want him to look at me and be like, I'm proud of you. Moving on. By faith, Abraham, when God tested him, offered Isaac as a sacrifice. He who had embraced the promises was about to sacrifice his one and only son, even though God had said to him, it is through Isaac that your offspring will be reckoned. Abraham reasoned that God could even raise the dead, and so in a manner of speaking, he did receive Isaac back from death. By faith, Isaac blessed Jacob and Esau in regard to their future. By faith, Jacob, when he was dying, blessed each of Joseph's sons, and worshipped as he leaned on the top of his staff. By faith, Joseph, when his end was near, spoke about the exodus of the Israelites from Egypt and gave instructions concerning the burial of his bones. By faith, Moses' parents hid him for 3 months after he was born, because they saw he was no ordinary child, and they were not afraid of the king's edict. By faith, Moses, when he had grown up, refused to be known as the son of Pharaoh's daughter. He chose to be mistreated along with the people of God, rather than to enjoy the fleeting pleasures of sin. He chose to be mistreated along with the people of God, rather than to enjoy the fleeting pleasures of sin. I think there's a valuable lesson there. He regarded disgrace for the sake of Christ as of greater value than the treasures of Egypt, because he was looking ahead to his reward. By faith, he left Egypt, not fearing the king's anger. He persevered because he saw him who is invisible. He persevered because he saw him who was invisible. And he was able to look beyond, like to aim high and steering, to not just go, I'm worried about the thing right in front of my face, but to look long into the future and go, that's what really matters. I'm aiming for that. That is part of what faith is. By faith he kept the Passover and the application of blood, so the destroyer of the firstborn would not touch the firstborn of Israel. By faith, the people passed through the Red Sea as on dry land, but when the Egyptians tried to do so, they were drowned. By faith, the walls of Jericho fell, after the army had marched around them for 7 days. By faith, the prostitute Rahab, because she welcomed the spies, was not killed with those who were disobedient. And what more shall I say? I do not have time to tell about Gideon, Barak, Samson, and Jephthah, about David and Samuel and the prophets, who through faith conquered kingdoms, administered justice, and gained what was promised, who shut the mouths of lions, quenched the fury of the flames, and escaped the edge of the sword, whose weakness was turned to strength, and who became powerful in battle and routed foreign armies. Women received back their dead, raised to life again. There were others who were tortured, refusing to be released so that they might gain an even better resurrection. Some faced jeers and flogging, and even chains and imprisonment. They were put to death by stoning. They were sawed in two. They were killed by the sword. They went about in sheepskins and goatskins, destitute, persecuted, and mistreated. The world was not worthy of them. They wandered in deserts and mountains, living in caves and in holes in the ground. These were all commended for their faith, yet none of them received what had been promised, since God had planned something better for us, that only together with us would they be made perfect. To me, this is beyond inspiring, right? And I've heard people talk about this. I think it actually, in the next chapter, talks about this as well. A stadium full of people that have already gone before us, cheering us on, going, "You're almost there. You're almost there. Stay with it. Keep the faith. Go a little bit longer. Finish your race. Like, we are all rooting for you. Do not stop. Do not give up." And I think about that often. I think about there are times when I'm like, I don't know if I can go in. I don't have anything left in the tank. There's nothing here for me. And we have to go on because what we do matters. Now, I heard a story when I was in Israel, and our guide said that he imagined, we were where Jesus was walking to the cross, and he said he imagined Jesus falling down under the weight of the cross and in his heart saying, "I can't go on. I've got nothing left in the tank. It's empty. There's nothing left in here for me. I wish that I could go on, but I can't." And he said, and I saw a face, and it was my face. And then he realized, I have to go on, because if I don't, then Stan won't make it. And it took my breath away when he said that. And he said, "Don't think I'm anything special. He saw your face too." And that's why he got back up and he finished, because he looked beyond the cross and he saw that heaven was on the other side. He looked at the joy that was to come, and he was able to endure the cross. And we can do the same thing. We can endure the things that are difficult in this life right now because we're looking past all that. And that is what faith is. It is the assurance that God is going to reward us for what we're doing, that what we do matters, and that there is an eternal reward for this and an eternal punishment if we don't. And these are some of my heroes. Love you guys.